And I mean, I guarantee, a lot of those people, they're not, looking through the telescope is very interesting, don't get me wrong, but guarantee a lot of those people, they probably want some type of meaning back with that, through the signs and different stars, constellations, things like that.
Astrology and astronomy are beautiful sister sciences, and I think they both are necessary to
They coincide very well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would
one
love
accentuates the other.
Yeah, seeing evidence recently on Sirius's impact as a star on our solar system star. I'm incredibly interested in knowing other bodies out there, other astronomical
constellations.
Just stars and bodies and whatever.
Yeah, there's planets
and
that
how
are
that
just gigantic,
us.
like just multiple sizes larger than.
And study how that impacts us, and and just understand more and more about out there and in here and how it all works together.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's also interesting too is, there's that concept of infinity and things like that. So it would be very interesting to look at. But I guarantee if you were to go to, I don't know, like an Astronomers World Federation meeting or convention, whatever you want to call it, I guarantee at least a few of them, probably a decent amount of them,
would be interested in astrology.
Would easily. So there has to be some type of.
And there would definitely be some that would be like so against it.
Well, in a way, they might be against it, but
that's fine.
If you have
they'll see the evidence and they'll.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have the evidence of the stars, then they can't really.
I mean, yeah.
Review too many things.
There's a lot of.
But yeah, there's somewhere down the road, I guarantee there's going to be some type of market, whether, initially you might have to get on the bus with the astronomers for a little while and then be able to branch out. There may be a market.
I consider myself an astronomer. I mean, obviously I'm not, affiliated with any federation or anything, but like an amateur astronomer, definitely. I love looking at the stars and just always hearing new things about them and studying them, I definitely think. Because I think astrology is that much more poignant when you have astronomy married with it, And it makes a lot more sense. Like, for example, the fastest planet in our solar system is Mercury. It goes around in 88 days, And that makes so much sense with the mercurial character, Virgos and Geminis, and how they are, Very quick, very nervous in energy, and very studious, very, and that's you and me, you're rising Virgo, and, philosophy major, perfect example, very studious, very interested, and I know you also have a very grounded approach, and very earthy, and like, okay, so what does this mean, though, you know what I mean, and what does this mean to me, and anyways, but yeah, astronomy, awesome.
Yeah. At some point in time, just purely out of the fact that it's interesting. If you've ever taken, and obviously you said you took an astronomy class over the summer. I mean, I'm sure you probably went out and looked at the stars and things like that, but if you have to end up looking at them from a textbook, it doesn't seem the same. It's not as subjective as you'd like to think it is. And you're able to kind of put more concept, more breadth when you
I totally see what you mean.
The astrology.
I think astrology would best be implemented first in psychology, because I think psychologists already feel like astrologers to me, and some of my really, really, really good best friends who study psychology are really interested in astrology too, and it's just people watching, it's observing, it's understanding. Like in my perspective, I know like a lot of people's charts by memory just because that's my energies of Cancer and stuff. And so like I'll see a couple people interacting and I know that they both have the same Venus, for example. And I'll get psychological like gain and insight from that because I'm sitting there and I'm literally observing energies that are very similar, for example, or very different. I've also observed that. Just people coming together in some form or another of different energies, fire, water, earth, air. And it makes sense, So I think psychology is the first place to start. for sure.
Yeah, I mean, well, like, I can definitely see it having a future in psychology. I mean, ideally, that does seem like a good place. The only thing that scares me is you might have these well-tenured professors that may be naysayers.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
But,
definitely.
yeah, I mean, if you're able
It's okay.
to... Well, yeah,
It's
I
okay.
mean,
I can wait for 30 years.
Well, no, yeah. And I mean, yeah, like, you'll obviously make a very strong case in how you go about doing that
But I
through,
won't be
like,
listened to.
psychology
I think that happens to
professors and things like that. But, I mean, I really like the idea of the astronomy take on it as well. Maybe if you pair those two together, just because you have the evidence of the stars right there. When they go, oh, well, you know, this is all this is this theory and everything like that, and you'll be like, no, there's been a methodology, it's been perfected over thousands of years. Look at this. You know, psychology's still pretty new. You know, when did Freud start popping around? You know, you think about things like that.
Yeah, you're right. I think both at the same time would be the best. Because why not? You know, they both just take different angles of...
Well, yeah, and also, too, think about what, in a way, astrology may be able to do for clinical psychologists. Think about that.
That would help them so much.
Boy, it may help. You know, it might not lead to the biggest breakthroughs or anything like that.
I think actually it would.
Eventually, over time, yeah.
I mean, looking at Mark David Chapman, the dude who killed John Lennon, like, if you look at his chart, there's a very disconcerting energy. I believe it was Uranus conjunct Moon. And I want to say Pluto made some aspect to that. And that basically stated, like, severe trauma and perversity related to his mother that was really just, I mean, crushing, you know? And it explains his mental instability. So I actually think there would be huge breakthroughs. I think there would be so many more breakthroughs than we even can imagine. Because, I mean, this energy is in everything, you know what I mean?
Well, the one thing I will say, too, what might also help your case is if you're able to make it seem more systematic while you're raising educational awareness.
I think a lot of studies need to come out. I mean,
which is why if you're able to sit there and publish data, and then again, that takes money, and, you know, people aren't just going to go, oh, well, this is very interesting data. Here, let me give you some money.
Yeah.
But you at least get that out there, and if you're able to take that and have a plan going, hey, look, this is systematic. This, you know, look at the methodologies from previous years. You might provoke interest in anthropology majors, well, anthropologists, things like that. I mean,
yeah.
Even if you're only able to make it like a basic elective course at the beginning,
yeah,
it would help out a lot.
I think anything would be excellent
for your case.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a way, if they add something like that in secondary education, maybe not for towns and cities that have, like, even a basic astronomy class that might have tensions of astrology in there, just so people can understand. I mean, then again, it's high school, folks.
I think it should infiltrate everything, you know, because it's in everything. I think teaching all the way down to preschool would be the best.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you
I don't really know about preschool, but incorporating it and just knowing about it, it exists, and because basically, I mean, it's.
Well, I mean, you learn about physical science.
Knowing it's psychology, but it's also self-psychology, and it's an extremely useful tool. You know, and introducing it as young as possible, just like with yoga, I feel is the same thing. Is kind of like self-healing. And it's a very useful tool, so why not teach it at, like, the youngest level possible? That would be good and healthy for the child, obviously.
Well, yeah. I mean, I definitely understand that claim. One thing I was thinking about is, in high school, it seems people are trying to find themselves in a way. They're obviously growing up, and then again,
especially
many of us are still growing in college and things like that, and obviously, you know, you grow and mature as a person before you hit your so-called prime and things like that. But I mean, just definitely maybe looking at your sign might give you a little bit different perspective, outlook on life.
Definitely.
Something like that.
Give you hope, give you understanding.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, you're not always trying to search for, You know, do the ends justify the means, like that.
But it's amazing just knowing like a little aspect of your character in difficult times. Like, you know, say I'm a very fiery thinker. For example, you're a very fiery thinker, very earth too. But that can help you, like, if you're having a bad day and like, no, like I'm at my best when I'm believing in myself, when I'm, you know, burning on something, so I'm interested in what I'm doing. So I'm gonna focus on that. And
I could definitely see a byproduct come out of people come out, and that byproduct would be people wanting to make themselves better.
Yeah.
Maybe by looking at their
Well,
sign
just more
and things
peaceful,
like
more
that.
in tune with themselves.
Well,
Not
yeah,
even
it
more
also
better, just
provides a little bit better understanding, or at least provides another way to understand yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, with
Just
not
one of
necessarily
many.
growing pain. Well, yeah, like a growing pains time. So it would definitely be interesting to see where that would go. I mean, you know, like outside of the classroom, like, okay, high school kids, I'm going to take you outside of the classroom to show you some of the stars. Maybe, you know, you have to go to school at night, even though it's probably not going to be mandatory by the school district or whatever. You know, there's an opportunity for, okay, well, we only have one field trip, but we're going to go to this astronomy lab, or we're going to go here, or this observatory, and we're going to take a look at the stars. I'll explain it. Then next week in class, all you do, you know, you take pictures while you're there. You explain to the kids, okay, here's a review of all the stars, and in a way this is what this means, and it'll at least provoke interest in them, and I think that'll help make them better about themselves, therefore making better students. Then again, that doesn't really have too much of a monetary aspect to it, so I don't initially see why they'd want to do that. But overall, I feel like it would make the students better and just more happier. You know, I mean, I guarantee, like in Finland, I'm pretty sure it's Finland, they have a pretty damn good education system. And that in itself is a whole other story, talk about the education system. But yeah, I feel like classes like that, there should at least be one class like that. Like even in high school, they have like a sociology class. Because, I mean, it is interesting just to learn about it. And then again, it's an easy class as well. I took sociology in high school, but I know it was an easy class. But it's also very interesting. Even if they had like a basic logic course, a critical thinking and critical reasoning course in high school, I feel like that would help out a lot of students when they're forming arguments, so they can write these college essays and write these, you know, entrance essays into whatever university, school they're trying to get into. Maybe able to help them out. But and then again, you know, these school districts and systems, they don't have a lot of money to be able to provide telescopes and things like that, but you know,
that should be changed.
There could be a market for high school teachers, and hell, even those college teachers.
High school astrology would be a wonderful.
The textbooking market. It's perfect. I mean, yeah, you know, you just charge Clark County School District, or you know, the Nye School District, or whatever county we're at right now.
I could see it starting in Nevada.
Well, yeah, I
Maybe a
mean,
place to start.
yeah, I mean, you know, whether it's in northern Wyoming or northern Nevada, I guarantee there's different ways to go about doing that and implementing it. I mean, it doesn't have to be like, you know, okay, well, we need iPads and every student needs a telescope, and I mean, you know, whether it's standing on top of a roof at a school or standing outside or going, hey, we're all going to meet Thursday evening, like 7 o'clock, you can bring some drinks, you know. Yeah, it's a little school thing, but, you know, you might be able to give the kids the day off in class, even if it's high school, just be like, oh, well, you know, it's going to be like a study hall thing, you guys can have your phone out that day, but just know to show up later on in the evening so we can all go look at the stars, you know, stand by the football stadium, take a look at it, sit on the bleachers. I'll take some pictures while you guys just look up at the stars and stuff, and I'll be explaining them a little bit. And then when we get to class, you know, it actually becomes interesting because then you can put together a PowerPoint slideshow, show that, explain that, and go, okay, this belt signifies this and this and this. Actually provoke kids' interest to where it's like, oh, well, I don't intend upon studying science or anything like that, so, but it's still obviously interesting because it's what we live under. It's called the sky.
We gotta get going, but Thanks for joining us in our talks. And anything lastly you'd like to say?
Some type of logic course in the secondary education system. Too many kids, whether it may be common sense or
I would say that's a good one.
a well thought out argument, idea, concept. A lot of people don't think things through as much as they should. And at least with a basic logic course, whether it's okay, here's the T structure, here's the B structure, premise and conclusion type thing should be taught in school, and that will help so many kids with their writing. And critical thinking involves critical decisions a lot of the times. That's where critical thinking is used at its best, and that's what I feel like our school systems need to be teaching, because that's how you get better thinkers, more innovative individuals for more societal progression.
I think also they should have a creative writing class, so like a dreamy type class to balance out. Because I think a logic class would be great, but I think a creative expression class would be great too.
Well, yeah,
Not even creative writing, but just like a creativity class.
Yeah, I mean they should at least have the option. I mean, I would have much rather taken one of those instead of having to. I mean, even though my modern literature class, for what it was worth, I mean, it was a joke of a class, but we got to read a few good books in there. But
Alright, we should get going. Alright, so peace and infinite love and namaste and goodbye.